Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday the 5th of December 2025. I'm Graham Hughes. You're watching Politics Social. We're going to move Hans Gruber a little bit more towards his impending doom. After being chucked out of the wind. He said they used the watch. It was the watch that she got, and she takes the watch off and it breaks, and that's how they get rid of it. It's bookending. Anyway, so welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about Nigel Farage today, unfortunately. I won't be showing any pictures of Nigel Farage because he's fucking disgusting. He's disgusting. He looks like a wizened old ballsack. And he's a Nazi. He's a rich, posh, Nazi ballsack. That's exactly what he is. But before we get into that, I'm going to say a big hello to Sarah and One Angry Pagan and Martin Harrow and Plum Duff. I've also got Bad Fairy in there. We've got Simon Smith and others. If you'd like to join our wonderful friend, Bad Fairy, in the chat there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. So if you give us a like, if you already subscribed, give us a like. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and you'll be able to join in with the conversation. And hit the bell notification icon so you can know when we're going to be doing random shows like the swear jar I did last night with Mike Dix. You wouldn't have known about that unless you had subscribed and hit the bell notification. So, it's worth doing. You don't want to miss these shows. They're quite fun. Before we get going on slagging off Farage, I have been reminded, thank you, to set the timer for the confetti. So 1 hour. And for those of you new here, if we get 10 super chats of any colour in the next hour, we will get confetti, which is when a little animation occurs. Oh, it says an error occurred. That's no good. Why is it saying an error occurred? Please try again. Oh, it's one of those mornings, isn't it? Hang on, let me just see if I can just sort this out. Why is it saying an error is occurring when I press start goal? Oh, I'm going to have to leave the super chat goal for the moment. It's saying there's an error. Not my fault. Blame Google. It's all the Google's fault. Stupid Googles. Okay, so Farage, racism, Holocaust survivors. Reform UK imploding. Here we go. So Farage has now been, it's now facing 28 separate allegations of racist and anti-Semitic behaviour from schoolmate to this very posh private school, Dulwich College. These aren't anonymous internet rumours. These are detailed on-the-record accounts of former pupils and teachers who describe consistent racist bullying, gas chamber noises, Hitler praise, targeted harassment. The Guardian has now published multiple investigations, each prompting even more witnesses to come forward. The number keeps rising because Farage keeps denying everything, prompting more contemporaries to say, no, that did happen. He did do that. And here's the thing, right? You know what? Like, loads of us were knobheads in school. I was a knobhead in school, a friend of mine who's still a very good friend of mine, I was horrible to him in school. I thought I was being funny. I thought I was like making jokes, ha ha ha, But the reality was, and I didn't see it till, it was pointed out to me, that I wasn't being funny. I might have been funny to everybody else, but to the person in question. And I'm so glad that we've managed to maintain a friendship through university and now, into our 40s and we still see each other. But that was a shit thing to do. And if anyone pulls me up on it, if I ever see any of my old school friends and they say, oh, you were a fucking knobhead in school, I'll say yes. Yes, I was, because I was a stupid fucking child and, I was influenced by dickheads at the time, and I've tried in my adult life to do better. Even in my adult life, I've done some stupid shit that I'm not fucking proud of. But if anyone ever pulls me up on it, I don't say, oh, I never did it. I don't gaslight. I say, yeah, I did that and it was fucking shit. I'm trying to be better. That's all we want from people. Just the admission that they're done, that they fucked up, makes us all feel a little bit more, human. But no, Farage, Trump, Boris Johnson, all of them, Matt Hancock, they never did nothing wrong. All these motherfuckers, they never do anything wrong, do they? They've never fucked up in their life. Even when Boris Johnson had a bunch of parties in Downing Street, it was It was all someone else's fault, wasn't it? Or when he was having an affair with that Allegra woman. What was her name? Not Allegra. What was the name of the woman he had an affair with in the early 2000s? I can't keep up. Anyway, and she had 2 of his abortions, you know, and he lied about it. He lied about it to the then leader of the Tory party, prompting his booting from the shadow cabinet. He lied to everyone. Lied to his wife. Lied to his mistresses. Lied to his editor, the editors of his newspapers. He lied to the leader of his party. He lied to the Queen. He just fucking lied. Lied and lied and lied. And whenever you try and pin him down, he never says, oh, yeah, I fucked up there, mate. Because they're taught in these bloody cunt farms that they go to, these private schools, they're taught not to ever show any weakness. Never say, never say die. So, Farage is just saying, oh, it was playground banter. It was playground. I never said anything but malice. What the fuck? What? Recollections may vary. Here's a top tip, right? If you are, right, confronted with one person who says you did this, and for the life of you can't remember doing that thing, right? There's a balance of probability that it didn't stick in your head, but it stuck in theirs, all right? And that's 1 to 1, all right? If 5 people tell you did something 50 years ago, whatever it was, 30 years ago, it doesn't matter, right? And you're like, no, I didn't do that. That's some psychopathy right there. Do you know what I mean? That's sociopathic tendencies to think that many people have got it wrong. For 10 people to be saying, yes, you did this in school, you were a bit of a twat, to say the least, right? Scrawling NF on everything because he thought it was funny that his initials were the same as the initials of the National Front, right? And if 15 people, if 20 people, if 25 people were telling you, yeah, you did this, that's the point where there's no coming back. You've got to go, okay, yeah, recollections may vary. No. Your recollection, because you didn't think it was important, but the people that you bullied, the people that you were anti-Semitic to, the people you were racist to, it's stuck in their heads. Because you ruined their days in that school. You ruined their teenage years by being so horrible to them. Thinking that you were the big I am because, what, you're white, you're rich, you privileged little shit. What happened to that pilot, Nigel? Why does no one ask him about the fucking pilot? The pilot who took his own life when Nigel could have fucking, I don't know, paid for his therapy, helped his business because he couldn't fly. After the crash, he couldn't fly until the investigation was finished, and the investigation took ages. The poor guy had depression. He had post-traumatic stress disorder. And what did Farage do? Took him to court. Took him to fucking court. Yeah. And Colin says, at my school, jokes about the treatment of Jews in German POW camps survive. Yeah, we had jokes. I'll tell you, I heard jokes up until the point where in sixth form we had a lot of Jewish students come over from King David, the Jewish school, for sixth form, and at that point it all just stopped because there were actually people who would be actually affected by all this, and it evaporated. Well, I didn't hear any more of it. Then again, I didn't hear any more. I doubt anyone would have said them to me at that point because my girlfriend was Jewish, so I don't know, maybe I just missed out on it because of that. But yeah, certainly. And you see this time and time again, people who are most vexed about people coming across in boats. It's like people in County Durham. There's no one coming in boats here, mate. They're all down south. They're all going into Kent. They want to fucking bellyache about it. Well, whatever. But up here, it's like, and that you see the most racist parts of the country, the most Brexity parts of the country. So it's like Lincolnshire, innit? So places that are like so white, like 99% white. And it's often the case of people who are racist, anti-Semitic, racist, they don't know any black people. Never met any, except going into a shop, maybe, and the shopkeeper, being prejudiced against people from the Indian subcontinent, being prejudiced against gay people, if you don't know anyone. And this is what changed when people really started coming out the closet in the 1990s and 2000s in the queer community, is that everybody knew someone who was gay. Like, in the end, everyone knew someone. It was a nephew or a niece or auntie, uncle, brother, sister, or them themselves, And then finally they came out of the closet and went, yeah, I like people the same sex as me. Yeah, great, cool, awesome, keep going. There's no problem with it. But you look at the American lawmakers, like the Republicans in America. I think was it Dick Cheney who had like a lesbian daughter, One of them, it was. And then famously in the 1980s, they didn't take the AIDS epidemic seriously until Rock Hudson, who was a dear friend of Ronald Reagan, came out and said, I'm gay and I'm HIV positive and I'm dying of this fucking disease. Do something about it, you daft twats. It was about 5 years where the American government just did nothing about it because they called it GRID at the time, gay-related immunodeficiency syndrome or something. Like, they just went, oh, it's just for gays. It's just for gays and drug heads. Do you know what I mean? If you take drugs and you're gay, then you might get this. But loads and loads of heterosexual people were getting it as well. They didn't care about them. And then we had the blood scandal. Jesus Christ. One Angry Pig says, that was always the dream, wasn't it? I wish I'd known then what I know now. But you get older, you find out that now wasn't you then. You then was a twerp. Night Watch, Terry Pratchett. It's a very good line. It's a very good line. But yeah, just own it. Just say, yeah, I did that. I fucked up. I've learnt from it. And apologise to the people that you've done this to. One of the things that fucks me off about one of the aspects of organised religion, and a lot of them do this, I'm not singling one out in particular, it's this idea that you can get forgiveness for something that you've done, that shit, but not from the person that you did it to. I don't get that. Like, how can you go and see a vicar, an imam, a rabbi or someone and say, I've done this bad thing, and they say, oh, well, you're forgiven now. No, go to the person that you did some horrible stuff to and say, look, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for doing that. And, for some people, that could mean the world to them, to say, look, I fucked up. I'm really, really sorry. I was horrible to you. I didn't realise that it affected you. I didn't realise how much it hurt. I'm just being a dickhead. But Nigel Farage does the opposite of that. He comes out all guns blazing and he starts wibbling on about Bernard fucking Manning, making jokes on the telly. And you're like, well, yeah. The context of what his classmates have said is even in the context of the 1970s, which were pretty fucking racist, a pretty fucking racist decade. If you look at comedy shows like Mind Your Manners, Mind Your English, what was it called? It was set in like an English language school. There was also I Love Thy Neighbour, in which racist tropes were trotted out. But like, this was targeted bullying about the Holocaust. And I'm sorry, but I've not seen any repeats of anything or know of any shows from the 1970s that actually make light of the Holocaust. I mean, we had a Low, which made light of the war. Dad's Army, which also arguably made light of the war. We had a show that didn't air, I don't think, or maybe it was just on once, called Heil, Honey, I'm Home, in which Hitler lived in a house next to some Jewish people. That happened. Oh, hi. Hang on, let me finish it. You're a legend, thank you. Not only is Kat making me a coffee here, she's just went to the shop to get a pint of milk because we were out of milk this morning. How lovely is that? Who and what were his parents like, says Andrew. I don't know. Gobshites, probably. Takes a couple of gobshites to make a gobshite. You shouldn't blame the parents, should you? But I do. He must have been a gobshite when he was a little kid. And they probably sent him to Dulwich College. Was that a boarding school? Was that a boarding school or was it a day school at the time? I don't know. They may have sent him to boarding school just to get rid of the little shit. Imagine that, getting rid of your kid is a little snotty little bastard. He's raised by nanny for the first 7 years of his life, and then he's shunted off to some private school. You never have to see the little fat fucker. You just go off and go skiing in the Algarve or whatever they do, whatever rich people do. Go yachting in Barrett. Nick says from the comments above, it seems like the scourge of chat nanny is spreading. We're just thinking that. Immediately thought of Rimmer. Listen, if you're going to put a chat in and you think that chat nanny might be having words, right? Copy it before you send it. And then if it doesn't go through, paste it back into the box and then take out whatever offending thing is stopping it from getting into the top chat. That forgiveness ritual is probably for blackmail purposes. Says Oliver. Not necessarily. I do find it interesting though that JC Jesus, not Jeremy Corbyn or Jarvis Cocker, he did have a big problem with people. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, see you later. I love you. Right. Sorry. Oh, by the way, as well, just while I'm housekeeping, we've got builders still downstairs, so there might be some banging in the middle of this. Don't worry, I haven't kidnapped someone and put them in the basement. that they're doing some work, doing some remedial work on the God. Never ever buy a house that's like 130 years old. Jesus Christ. John Cleese, says Colin. He's turned into a bit of a twat, hasn't he? So yeah, in his own words, in Farage's own words, he said he might have said things that could be viewed differently today, but denies directed racism. He said he never said anything with malice. And it's like, no, you just don't understand. You just don't get it. So he admits the culture existed, but at first he was denying his participation. Then he admitted that he did it, but he didn't do it with malice. Now he's saying, oh, but it was a product of the time. He's just flailing around looking for excuses. Tice has gone nuclear, calling all 28 people who have come forward liars, which backfires because when you call dozens of respectable adults liars, it just proves your point, really. Why would they all make it up? One of the guys was on Breakfast Show the other day. He just said, what? I'm not political. I'm not doing this to make a political point. In fact, I never said anything for years just because I didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. But when he started denying that he ever did it. So here's the thing, right? If Farage had just got ahead of this, right, from the get-go and said, yeah, I was a little bastard in school. Thank God I'm not that same person these days. And I actually respect people of other religions and cultures, except the Dutch. He might have got away with it. But here's the thing, and here's what worries me. Every racist in the country is cheering this on and going, yeah, Bernard Manning was a massive racist, so it was okay to make gas chamber noises to Jewish pupils at school, And then 11 Holocaust survivors have written an open letter, which come out today, demanding that Farage tell the truth and apologise. They include people who lost entire families in the concentration camps. So they survived ghettos and endured Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen. The message that they put forward is pretty fucking blistering. Praising Hitler, mocking gas chambers, or hurtling racist abuse is not banter, not anywhere. They explicitly ask Farage whether he said Hitler was right or gassed them or mimicked gas chamber hissing. They challenge him directly. Are you saying 20, now 28, former classmates are lying? And they force Farage into a binary. Either he apologizes or he accuses Holocaust survivors and all witnesses of fabrication. The intervention flips the political narrative from schoolboy antics to moral responsibility, and survivors only speak up when the danger is real. Their presence elevates this from a political story to a warning. And don't forget, there was a letter that went out, was it the housemaster at Dulwich College for Farage's year, where they actually talk about his racism. They talk about this being a problem. I think that he wasn't allowed to be a prefect because of his racism. His racism was cited even at that age, Captain is talking about the 912,141,900 rubles equals 9 million pounds. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. Jesus Christ. It's for your victims to decide if they're offended or not. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But isn't it telling that he's not mates with any of the lads he went to school with? I think that's very telling myself, And I know that our experiences of school varies, and I know some people had really shit experiences in school. So, for instance, my partner isn't mates with any of the girls she was in school with before she came to my school. She's still mates with loads of people from my school because we just, seem to all get along by and large. Whereas her old school, she was picked on. She was picked on for being deaf. To be blunt, she was picked on for being disabled. And so, yeah, why would she still be mates with anyone from that particular school? But it doesn't sound like Farage was bullied in school. It doesn't sound like people picked on him, which is just, it is very telling, I think, that there's no one come forward from his school, I don't think, saying, yeah, he was great. I fucking loved a bit of, hanging out with Nigel Farage and his racist ways. He's not racist because he definitely wasn't being racist. And then we've got the detailed allegations from classmates, which was talked about before. The BAFTA and Emmy winning director, Peter Ategui. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Sorry for butchering it. But I'm gonna look this up now just so I can say it right in the future, because I need to do this now and again, especially if a name is going to crop up time and time again. I think it's really rude to get people's names wrong, and I feel really shit when I do it. There you go. It is pronounced et Ted Gu. Ted Gu. It's like Gyoo. How do you pronounce that? Gu. Peter Ategu. Ategu. Okay. I'm going to write this down. Give me a moment. Do you know what? Did anyone join us? Did any of you join us for the rabbit hole this week, me and Rach? And I hadn't seen half the fucking movies. I realised now, because I watched... what was on Amazon last night? We were going to watch a movie called Margin Call, right, on Amazon. We pay for Amazon and we get adverts still, because whatever. And we sit through 3 minutes of adverts to start watching Margin Call, which has got Stanley Tucci in. It's also got fucking Kevin Spacey in, but we try to ignore that. And it came out in 2011. And yeah, no subtitles. Subtitles are not available on this. We couldn't watch it. So we watched 3 minutes of fucking ads. And then the show was supposed to start. So we decided to watch what was it called? The Tomorrow War. Now, this wasn't on our list. This was an honourable mention by Rach. Hi, Rach, if you're listening. And I watched it last night, and it was boss. It was the stupidest, most ridiculous, possibly... I was just giggling my fucking head off all the way through. You know when you watch a movie and it's terrible, but it's awesome because it's just so fucking gleefully awful. It was brilliant, and I had a really good time. And that cheered me up. No, I think it cheered me up possibly more than watching the Margin Call or whatever it was called. Just a terrible name for a movie. Do you know what the worst name for a movie is ever? And maybe we should do this, me and Rach, on one of our shows. Do like the best and the worst movie names ever. Greenland. It's just the worst movie name. And Greenland 2, Migration, is coming out next year. Greenland. That's what the movie's called. Movie titles. Best and worst. Best and worst. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but I just want to share that with you. I mean, just what? Greenland. What's it about? Oh, it's about the end of the world. Why are you going to call it Greenland? Okay, cool. Best movie names ever. Ice Cold in Alex, which for some inexplicable reason was released as Desert Attack in the States, when Ice Cold in Alex is one of the coolest, most enigmatic names you could possibly have for a movie. Like, what is it? What is the Ice Cold? Who is Alex? What's all going? This is very strange. Are they inside Alex? That sounds a bit rude. What was going on there? And it turns out it's an ice cold beer in Alexandria in Egypt when you've traveled through the desert for a few weeks. Brilliant, right? Second favorite of all time, Snakes on a Plane. Snakes on a Plane. What a great name. What a great name for a movie. You know, it does exactly what it says on the tin. I mean, it's a shit film, but what a great name. But the best name ever, I'm probably spoiling this now for if we talk about this on the show, is There Will Be Blood. I can't think of a better movie title than There Will Be Blood. And it's based on a book called Oil, which is really hilarious because they took a book, but Paul Thomas Anderson took a book that had a terrible, terrible title, and somehow he got the greatest title of all time out of it. I just no notes. Magnolia, no. Punch Drunk Love, nope. What was the more recent one? One Battle After Another. That sounds like a slog. No. There Will Be Blood is a promise. It is a threat. It sounds freaking awesome. It sounds like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to see this movie and there will be blood. So you know that someone's going to fucking fuck up at some point. I mean, come on. This is awesome. So yeah, they're my 3 best names for a film of all time. And I think my number 1 for the worst name for a film is Greenland. And you know what? I like Gerard Butler. And I love Marina Baccarin. She's fucking incredible. I love her in anything she's in. And it's a quite good movie, actually, Greenland, if you watch it. But it's very silly, but it's good. But yeah, just wow. Wow. Okay, so back to racism. Oh, God, do we have to talk about racism? Yes, we do. Freckle Puny, I remember being the subject of racist comments from teachers at high school. Bloody hell. Even though it happened 40 years ago, I can name those teachers and what they said. Yeah, Freckle Puny, when I talk about this, like, those teachers probably don't remember saying that, but you do. And it's the same with these kids who went to, now adults, who went to school with Nigel Farage. He probably just didn't think about it. He just was like, well, whatever, it was 50 years ago, well, I don't care. But like, for the people he did that, he left a lasting, strong mental image of him doing these terrible things, saying these terrible things. Yeah, but Snakes on a Plane, what is it about? Well, I mean, Snakes on a Plane, Samuel L. Jackson only signed up to it because it was called Snakes on a Plane. I mean, come on. What more do you want in life? Saz, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That is very kind. Is that our first super chat of the morning? No, we got Andrews earlier. Thank you very much, Saz. That's very kind of you. Hi, bye, everyone. My chats are not getting through this morning. I wish you all well. Have a great weekend. Oh, I'm sorry your chats aren't getting through, Saz. That sucks. But I'm glad you got your super chat through. I think if you write a super chat, you can write whatever you like. Do you know that if you give a super chat, you can write more letters? And the more money you give, the more letters you can write. Did you know this? In the chat, so if you want to write a fucking essay, if you give like, I don't know, 10 quid or something, you can write a fucking... If you give like 200 quid in the super chat, I'm not saying you should, but if you do give 200 quid, I think you can write like a fucking thesis. I think it's like 15,000 words. No. You fill up the entire thing here with your bon mots. Frogface also mentioned it ain't hot mum and accused the Bieber of using blackface. The guy who played Rangi Ram was played by Michael Bates, was born on December the 4th, 1920 in Jhansi in India. Indie biker Steve. Yeah, mate. I mean, wow. Yeah. Well, as people complained about, they were like, oh, what's Ben Kingsley? What's he doing? Why is he playing the Gandhi? I'm like, he's fucking Indian. That's why he's playing Gandhi. He's literally Indian. It's got an Indian name. He changed it for, equity purposes to Ben Kingsley, but, he's Indian. How many times does Samuel Jackson say motherfucker in that movie? Many times. If you like gore and humour, Fallout is a good romp on Amazon, says Frank. I absolutely agree, 100%. It is a really fun bit of... There's another thing on... There's a show on Apple TV at the moment called Silo, and it's got the incredible Rebecca Ferguson in, who I love. That's very serious. And then Fallout's like the kind of comedy joke version of it. It's really, really funny. It looks incredible, like set design and the way they make it all looks fucking awesome. The cinematography is really good in it as well. But it never takes itself too seriously. Everyone's having a good time, and there's lots of gore. It's kind of like The Evil Dead. It's kind of like The Evil Dead, but it's set in the future. I guess that's a good way of describing it. Same sort of daft humor, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's like Kingsley, yeah. If you own a social media platform, you can post like a US Muppet president, and that's the truth, says Simon. Yeah, you can. Do you ever have mornings when you can't get moving? Yes, Plum Duff. It's one of the reasons why I do these shows. Honestly, it gets me out of bed. I've got to get it done. I've got to get the thumbnail designed and the blurb written up and the fucking, the tags and the titles and all that shit. And I've got to write down a bit of an episode plan of what I'm going to talk about. And I'm helped by AI. I'm not going to lie about that, because otherwise I'd have to get up at like 4 a.m. to get this all done. But yeah. Krishna Pandit Banji was Ben Kingsley's birth name. Yeah, he's Indian. I'm like, why is this white guy playing Gandhi? I'm like, he's not white. It's Sir Ben, not Sir Kingsley. Only lords and ladies get to use their surname after their title, not mere sirs or dames. Woo! Well, there you go. Got to be born into it. Got to be born into it to win it. Fun fact, Richard Attenborough first offered the part of Gandhi to Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I could see that. Welshman playing. Yeah. Who's the Catherine Zeta-Jones, right? She keeps playing Mexicans. She keeps playing Mexicans. What's that about? So in the what movies is it? The Zorro, Mask of Zorro movie. She plays a Mexican woman, doesn't she? She doesn't play a Welsh woman. And then she's in the new series of The Addams Family. It's called Wednesday. Has anyone seen this? It's quite fun, actually. It's Tim Burton. Yeah, she plays Morticia Addams, who obviously has she's married to a guy called Gomez, and their kid is played by Selena Gomez. Not Selena. Who is it? Plays the girl? Is it Selena Gomez? Am I just making that up? Selena Gomez. No. She's the Selena Gomez is out of Only Murders in the Building, isn't she? What's her name? Wednesday Addams. Jenna Ortega. That's it. Jenna Ortega, who's obviously has Hispanic heritage. Christopher calls him Sir Kingsley. Lol. I literally did not know that about Ben Kingsley. Yeah, not a lot of people know that, but he is Indian. I find it interesting that Trump has his post printed out and on the desk at the side of him. It's almost as though someone else does them for him. Yeah, I do that. I don't have them printed out. Wow, I remember going to the cinema with our whole year group, see it in India, and everyone was saying, why did they cast a white man to play Gandhi? Poor Ben Kingsley. But yeah, a fantastic film though. I mean, Gandhi is a really, really good film. Glosses over some of the more unsavory aspects of Mohandas Gandhi's life, which we found out subsequently after his death. But this is one guy who managed to defy an empire without firing a single shot. He brought down the British Empire. Don't forget, India in 1947 was the first domino to fall in the British Empire, really. After that, all these other states demanded independence. And within, 20 years of that, nearly all of these countries had independence from Britain. Because they looked at India and went, fuck this shit. Why are we putting up with this? Well, Gandhi came over here. He came up to the north, didn't he? He went to mills and stuff. And I think he said, he's a clever man. He was a lawyer. I think he said to the politicians that he met over here, like, get rid of it. You don't. All it's doing is costing you money. You've taken everything now. You're taking all the gold. You're taking all the riches. Nothing left. It's just costing you money. You got to have administrators over there all the time. You got to have people running the place. And the number of rebellions and uprisings and strikes, general strikes, they're just going to rise and rise. It's not worth the headache, mate. It's not worth the headache. It's very hard to keep hold of places that do not want to be part of your country. End of. Look at South Sudan. Look at Eritrea. Look at Kosovo. If you are part of a country and they don't want you to, the people who live in this part don't want to be part of it, they'll be like, no, fuck this shit. They'll create a fucking headache for you until you get to a point where you're like, this is costing us too much money. They don't even have to make a moral decision. It's just an economic decision. Same with slavery, by the way. Don't ever think for a moment that it was a moral decision by the British Empire to ban slavery within the British Empire in 1807. It wasn't. It wasn't. It just wasn't. It was an economic decision. They realised that having slaves working and trying to keep hold of slaves and, to try to stop slaves from running away and the human cost and all that kind of stuff, it just wasn't worth it. And they realised as well they could fuck things up for the French and the Portuguese and the Spanish who were transporting people over to the Caribbean as well. And they could fuck things up for them by intercepting their ships. Got a ship out of it, don't you? If you hear any banging, is this the OnlyFans channel? Oh, not till this evening. I'm sorry, Betty Swallocks. Maybe later. What's the obsession with Wednesday Addams lately? The character is a child. It's as disturbing to me as the Saint Trinian's remake. Well, I don't know. It's a really good show. I'm not saying I'm obsessed. I'm not saying that I'm obsessed with Jenna Ortega. I'm just saying that the show's really good. Like it's a fun romp. Essentially, you've got The Worst Witch, which is the original, actually, technically, because that was written before Harry Potter. And then you've got Wednesday, and you've got Wicked, the first half of Wicked. All four of those franchises involve a kid going to a school for the supernatural and having the whole world open to them. So normally they've got a bit of a shit childhood until they go to this new school. But Wednesday's fun because she's such a miserable character and it's hilarious. She's so cynical, but she's got a heart of gold. And it's just fun. It's just a fun show. A stupid fun show. Funny to watch. My cousin is Gandhiji's great grandson. I'm going to his daughter's wedding in India in a couple of weeks' time. Haven't been back since before the pandemic. Oh wow, SG, that's amazing. That's really cool. I've been to This is my fucking lame to fame. Here you go. I've been to Gandhi's ashram in Ahmedabad in Gujarat. I went there. And I was actually there a couple of weeks. I was actually in Ahmedabad a couple of weeks before. I was in there in February 2002. I was there a few weeks before the massacre. There was like 1,000 people massacred in Hindu Muslim rioting. Yeah, it was really fucking grim. And who was the governor of the state of Gujarat in India at the time? I don't know, some fucker called Narendra Modi, was it? Modi? M-O-D-I, I think his name was. I wonder where he is now. Fucking gobshite. Rebecca Hyman was a trans woman programmer and designer who worked on the original Fallout, Wasteland, and Baldur's Gate, as well as Ports of Doom and Wolfenstein. She died November 17th, aged 62. Oh, R.I.P. Rebecca Hyman. Wow. Christina Ricci is a great actor too, says Oliver. Yeah, is it Ricci or Ricky? I never know. But yeah, she is in Wednesday. She's in Wednesday, playing a different character, and also Christopher Lloyd's in it as well, who played Gomez in the film. So yeah, it's a bit of a Addams Family reunion, which I think is really cool. And so Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it playing Morticia, and Joanna Lumley plays the mum of Morticia. She plays the grandmother in it. She's fucking brilliant. Honestly, it's really, really good. It was funny because when it started the show, and Wednesday Addams, when they started the show, and what's the guy's name? Oh, Steve Buscemi's in it as well, who's always a good laugh. He's in the second season. Gwendolyn Christie is in it from Game of Thrones. You know, Brianna Tarth, she's in it. And Lewis, it'd be Lewis, wouldn't it? Because it's not French. Lewis Guzman, he plays the dad, right? He plays fucking, what's his name? Gomez. He plays Gomez Addams, right? And a lot of people at the time were like, why are you getting this guy who's like a funny looking fucker? I love him, right? He's a fantastic actor. Why are you casting him as Gomez? But the thing is, we're all thinking of Raul. What's his name? The guy who played him in the film, Raul Julia. We're all thinking about him, right? And he's very debonair and very, he's a good looking guy. Yeah. Whereas in the comics, in the cartoons that Mr. Thingy Adams created, Charles Adams created, in those cartoons, like he is pretty ugly. He just is. He's got like big gaps between his teeth and stuff. Lewis Guzman, I think he's inspired casting. Inspired, my friends, inspired. Ms. Paula Thomas, Modi is so far up Putin's arse, he can't see a son. Yeah, exactly. Miss Paula Thomas, you're absolutely right. Thanks for the super chat there. I was going to suggest Snakes on a Plane for worst movie name. No, Betty Swan, it's the best because it's so daft. It's just so stupid. It's just such a stupid, daft name for a film, but like it's like. It probably just appeals to me. Like if I saw that in Blockbuster, right? So it's the 1990s Blockbuster, and you're doing that thing where you're looking through all the films and you've seen half of them, and your mate's seen the other half. So you're trying to find a film that both of you haven't seen, and you pick up a movie and it says Snakes on a Plane. You can even think of how that would be written on the cover of a VHS tape. I'll pick that up and go, this is going to be fucking awful, but I want to watch it. I just want to watch it because it's just a stupid name for a film. The intrigue is there. Steve Cropper passed away. Yeah, Colin, the guitarist of Booker T and the MGs. Yeah, that's pretty sad. This could finally be the uprising against Chat Nanny that we need. It was not legal to own a slave in England, says Bad Fairy, but people did. People did. There were adverts from the time, from newspapers. And don't forget, back in the day, the front cover of the newspapers was just all adverts, and then you'd turn it over and there might be some news inside it. It was basically an advertising pamphlet. And adverts that we you go to the Slavery Museum in Liverpool, and they actually have these snippets from newspapers saying, slave for sale. Don't tell the authorities. They turned a bit of a blind eye. It wasn't particularly common, but it did happen. In the TV series, Gomez was played by John Aston. Yes, it was. Who was very debonair as well. Well, Julia, similar, cigar and Modi and Putin and Trump are birds of a feather. Yep, they actually are. The best film title was The 41-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It. Was a porn star living next door. Snakes in Westminster would be a good title for a film about reform. Yeah, I like that. Gosh, the original Gomez, John Aston, is still alive. He is indeed, yes. He is still alive, John Aston. He was born in 1930, March the 30th, 1930. And he's still with us. Wow. That's pretty cool. It'd be cool if he turned up in Wednesday. Like Dick Van Dyke turned up in Mary Poppins 2 at the age of like 95 or however old he was at the time, which was really fun to see him. Because in the original Mary Poppins, they age him up, don't they, to be the bank manager. So he plays the chimney sweep, but he also plays the bank manager, and they age him up. And in this, he played the same character, or the relative of the same character. He's like this really old bank manager, I think. I can't remember. I unfriended a lot of people at school because they started being racist and pro-Brexit reform online. Tez Townsend, yeah, that's happened to quite a few people that I know, where they've had to, they've had mates from school who've just gone down the fucking Brexit plug, the plug hole, fucking, Farage bullshit. So that's been a bit of a worry. What kind of adverts did these oldie-timey papers have? Old Brian's haberdashery. Yeah, I think it was that. I think it was like personal ads as well, of like, I've got a fucking chest of drawers to sell. Does anyone want to buy it? They'd have something where it said, we found a body last night. Is this your body? I don't know. His London accent was terrible. Lol. Oh, come on. Go on. Oh, go, bro, mate. Come on then. Mary Poppins. Oh, hey. I think it was just as terrible as, and you're going to hate me for saying this, and, I love Audrey Hepburn with all of my heart, but her accent at the beginning of fucking My Fair Lady, oh, fuck off. Oh, Governor, what are you doing? I'm trying to sell me fucking flowers here. Ooh, ah. Oh my God, what are you doing, Audrey? You're half British. Victorian era advert, Mother Withering Shaw's bathy soothing liniment may contain heroin. Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of rich black Georgians who did not want to be kidnapped and sold as slaves. Yeah, let's make a remake of Drag Me to Hell, starring Nazi Farage being dragged to that special place waiting for him. Yeah, that would be great. Anyway, let's finish off talking about this. There are 8 contemporaries collaborating a Ted Hughes. I got this right. A Ted Hughes claim, and he said that he recalls Farage whispering Hitler was right, gassed them, and making hissing sounds to simulate gas chambers. They targeted the behavior as its contemporaries described the behavior as targeted, vindictive, and consistent. Another pupil recalls Farage making gas hissing noises at a different Jewish classmate, not a one-off. This is a pattern. And Asian pupils recount Farage telling them the P word. Go back where you came from. Enoch Powell was right. Not ambiguous, not edgy humor. It was just straightforward racism, straightforward bullying racism. He wasn't making a joke. He wasn't like, Scousers rob stuff. Do you know what I mean? Someone put up a thing the other day, on the 1st of December, and it was one of the, when they have, when you go to the supermarket and they have those lockers outside, the yellow ones for putting parcels in. You know those that you use, and you put the parcel in the locker, and then it goes off somewhere, and you have different size ones. Yeah, and there was a guy there with a balaclava on and a bit of rebar to get them open, and it said Scouse Advent Calendar. Mate. Is Farage a Chelsea fan? Possibly. Did we talk about the Chelsea headhunters? I've just got to check my phone here because if the guy's downstairs near me, I'm the only one in the house at the moment. Oh yeah, okay. Missed call at 9:00. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that the guys downstairs are all right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you a commercial break. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up the politics social ident, and I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Hello, sorry about that. Had to just go and check on the guys. They had a question for me. Okay, so a little bit out of breath. Graham promised ads. Sorry, Colin. I should have set the ads to start, but I mean, do you really want ads? Do you really? David says, I fucking hate football and all the tribalism. I like football as a game. I think it's entertaining. Honestly, I prefer the women's football to the men's, but whatever. It's funny how the men's football is so straight. Like I don't think there's any gay players of the 700 people who are like employed to play in the Premiership or however many it is. There's no one's gay. Like, really? None of you? Not one of you is gay? Okay. But the women's game, everyone's a lesbian. It's brilliant. Not everyone. But you know what I mean? Like, it's funny that, isn't it? But yeah, much prefer the women's game. But yeah, the game's great. It's just the attitude of footy fans. But then, I've read that it gives people a bit of a pressure valve, to sort of let off a bit of steam at the, when they go to the match and they can jump up and down and get excited and emotional about something. It gives men a chance to be emotional. There you go. Because if you cry because your football team loses, then, that's manly or something. So, yeah. But, then there's the bad side of it with the hooligans and the fact that whenever there's a big sporting event, the number of domestic violence attacks go up. So I have some good news at last, says Gallifreyan. New padlocks have been put on my site's gate, so we should get no more trespassing kids causing trouble. That is cool. Good stuff. And Urbane Legend says, I think people being priced out of football has led them to joining these flag shagging groups for companionship. Yeah, probably. We can all shag the flags together. Anyway, so, where was I? So we're saying Asian pupils were targeted, Jewish students were targeted. Witnesses describe Farage obsessively pointing at the name Patel on a school roll and shouting it during assemblies to single out the kid. In the 1980 school roll, apparently there's 12 Smiths and 13 Patels. He apparently saw this as a cultural crisis. And one film people said he had a reputation as a racist bully. A racist bully. That's the phrase, consistent across all of the testimonies. He was a racist bully. And then he's had this meltdown at the press conference yesterday. I don't know if anyone watched it. I mean, I'd prefer not to watch it because I hate his fucking face. It's like Trump. I just can't stand his fucking face. I wish his face would just fuck off. But he went on a tirade shouting Bernard Manning repeatedly. He said that the BBC is hypocritical for airing racist comedy in the 70s, which is irrelevant. It's a deflection. He's trying to reframe himself as a victim of modern wokeness. He threatens to boycott the BBC, which is a classic Trump playbook. He delegitimizes the messenger rather than address the evidence. And he read out a letter from a single Jewish former pupil, anonymous, which a cherry-picked testimonial, and it sounds like I can't be racist, but I've got a black friend defense. I've got a friend who's gay. I've got a friend who's Scouse, and there was accusations of these. He accused the BBC of double standards. For broadcasting, like, are you being served? And this is a ludicrous comparison, of historic comedy, personally racist abuse of classmates. And you could argue that those comedies in the 1970s, he talks about Alf Garnett. Alf Garnett was written by a left-winger who wants to make someone who would vote refuck now look like a twat. Alf Garnett wasn't supposed to be some kind of folk hero. He was the guy who always ended up looking like a tit at the end of each episode because of his prejudices, because of his bigotry, because of his love of Millwall Football Club. And this meltdown was just like, he ended it with Recollections May Vary. And that is hopefully that's going to be a phrase that's going to haunt him, So yeah, and then we've also got some more news about refuck at the moment, with Staffordshire council leader Ian Cooper accused of extreme racist posts. He told Dr Shola to F off back to Nigeria. He called Sadiq Khan a narcissistic Pakistani. He claimed migrants are colonising Britain. He said British-born women of colour are not ethnically English. Oh, fuck off. And he called diversity a lie. And, Cooper's still under internal investigation, but he's still in the post. And Labour MPs have demanded his resignation, but Reform is like, I don't know. And two other Reform politicians have recently been suspended for racist and violent comments. Laura Ann Jones was caught using a racial slur, and Tom Pickup, in a WhatsApp group, he called for mass Islam genocide. It's funny how this guy who's definitely not racist, Nigel Farage, surrounds himself by people who are racist. It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah, if your mates all turn out to be racist and you're like, oh, why are all my friends racist? It's funny that, isn't it? This is a pattern. It's not incidental. It's fucking structural. This is what refuck is. This is what the refuck pattern is. It's not a few bad apples. It's a whole fucking orchard. And then you've got the stench of the pro-Russia gruesomeness with Nathan Gill sentenced for over 10 years for taking bribes in a pro-Russia influence campaign. It directly links Farage to the historic Russia Today appearances and his Kremlin-friendly rhetoric. He said pretty much the same thing that Nathan Gill said in the EU Parliament and on TV. Raises direct questions, this, about foreign interference in refuck, because it's the only major UK party with a single figure jailed for helping a hostile state. And then we move on to the £9 million, the biggest donation in political history from a living person. Christopher Holborn, aka Chakrit Sakunkrit, who is a Thai citizen, lives in Thailand, rarely appears publicly. Fortune built on early Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether. He holds 12% of Tether, which could be called Terror actually, the most profitable company per employee in history. Its profit last year was 13 billion out of crypto. That's more than McDonald's. It's more money than McDonald's. But it's also linked to global money laundering concerns, including UK schemes tied to the Russian war effort. Harborne denies any wrongdoing, says it's like blaming the US Treasury for money laundering. Farage says he wants nothing in return for this money, but immediately goes into a speech about how Britain should embrace crypto and weaken regulations. This is the same man who previously bankrolled Farage's Brexit party to the tune of £10 million. The pipeline hasn't stopped. It's still going. And this guy, Christopher Harborne, was the 1,292nd addition to my private school mafia list. He went to Westminster School. Of course he did. Privately educated, tough, gobshite, loads and loads of fucking money. More money than anyone could ever fucking imagine. That he's made from gambling on the internet. People, gambling their money, not his. And this cryptocurrency that he runs, or has a 12% stake in, is well known for being used to launder money for Russia, which at the moment is under a lot of sanctions from a lot of countries around the world in what they can put money into. There is a good chance that this 9 million actually came from Vladimir Putin via this gobshite in Thailand over to Nigel Farage. But why is so much money being given to any one political party? Why aren't they going after this crazy? Why are we allowing foreign influence in our politics? Why aren't Labour doing something about it? Because Labour are fucking useless. That's why. They're fucking useless. Pisses me off. They've got a fucking open goal here. Just launch an investigation into foreign funding, into corruption, into Russian meddling, foreign meddling in our politics. Do you know what? Even the flag shaggers will agree with that. If you say to someone, "Do you think we should have less foreign interference in our government?" They'll go, "Yeah." I mean, they won't think about the fact that their favourite party is funded by the Russians, but possibly, allegedly. But then you got the refuck poll collapse down to 25% now. The worst YouGov figure since April. Even YouGov, which typically records lower reform numbers, shows a clear slide. The fall coincides with racism allegations breaking, Nathan Gill sentences, the Cooper scandal, Farage's meltdown and refusal to answer questions. And I just really hope that we make the most of this. When they go low, you kick them. You keep kicking them. You keep kicking them until they are not with us anymore. That's what you do to win. Because I'm sick of Keir Starmer bringing a rule book to a knife fight. What a fucking dickhead. Stop it. Stop it. Bring a fucking AR-15 and just make sure that these motherfuckers, they go to jail for the crimes that they've committed. I mean, metaphorically, I don't mean an actual, I'm not advocating violence here. I'm just saying these people should be taken out of politics. They shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power. They shouldn't even be in, they shouldn't be 4 light years away from the levers of power. Anyway, so the patriotic alternative is like a fucking far right fucking clown show, paid for by a country, a wasteland in the north of Asia that is currently invading Europe, stealing our children and raping our women. They don't like me saying that, but it's the reality. It's the fucking reality. Fucking Russia. I feel bad saying that actually, because this is going to sound like I've got friends who are black, but I do have friends in Russia and they're horrified by what Putin has done and what he's doing, but they can't say anything. They can't say anything. Anyway, Starmer calls Farage a toxic, divisive disgrace, and he's attacked Farage over his cultural smashing comments about Glasgow. Farage claimed that because 1/3 of Glasgow's pupils speak English as a second language, the city is in decline. Somewhat ironic considering two of his children spoke English as a second language. They also spoke German. And Starmer said diversity is strength. Diversity is Scotland's strength. Yeah, Scotland under the SNP got onto the fact that they needed people to go there because they had a declining birth rate and they had actually a declining population in Scotland. So they decided to do something about it and put more things in to encourage people to come to Scotland. And they put out adverts saying, if you live in Scotland, you're Scottish, that's it. It really puts Farage in the frame is like the problem, not the solution. And it just is just disgraceful. Farage is now under sustained fire from his own past, from Holocaust survivors, former pupils, former castmates, political opponents, and now from voters. And Farage and his party will attract all the racists in the country, but thankfully there's not that many racists in the country. So this is. I hope that his press conference yesterday, its strategy of denial and deflection and shouting Bernard Manning doesn't fucking work. Doesn't fucking work. We've got the highest second donor is Jeremy Hoskins, a hedge fund manager. I prefer the term asset stripper. Yeah, that's what a hedge fund manager does. They gamble on they make companies fail. They take a company that's doing all right and they make it fail for money. Mr. Harrow, we sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" to Nelson Mandela in Wembley in 1990. Yeah. I mean, football's come a long way. It's come a long way. In the 1980s, when John Barnes was playing for Liverpool, the racist chanting on the terraces was just horrific when the away fans would turn up. They threw bananas at him. They threw bananas at him on the pitch in the 1980s. That happened. And the authorities, the Football Association and the Premiership, latterly did do a lot of good work, like clamping down on this kind of stuff. And now when people shout something fucking racist, they're generally found, because they've got CCTV everywhere now in the stadiums, and they're banned. That's it. It's hard enough to get a ticket for the Premiership anyway, but that's it. No more matches for you, knobhead. Farage's press conferences are him lighting his own farts. Yeah. But somebody will like it. There's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door, says Frank. I presume you're singing it. But yeah, this is no longer just a bit of tittle tattle about Farage. This is a big political scandal, and it's not that he did this stuff. It's not that he did this stuff. That's bad enough, right? It's that he's denied it. He's lied about it. He said, it wasn't him. Wasn't me. Anyway, I'm going to go over to the papers now to talk about what the fuck's going on in the papers. What are they talking about today? The Times. We'll start with the Times. Inside Gwyneth's big Hollywood comeback. And we've got Mike Atherton en route to most important ton. Now, that means probably nothing to anyone who doesn't know about, cricket. But I think it's Joe Root, is it? And he scored 100. He scored 100 in the Ashes. So there you go. Well done, Joe. Well done, Joey fella. And then we've got new energy levels will burn your cash despite budget pledge. We've got deal to give frozen $8 billion from Russia to Ukraine. Absolutely do that 100 times over. Unlimited payout plan for unfair dismissals. And then we have the Eurovision story, which we'll be talking about a lot more, I think, in the show tonight and the Friday Night Social at 9:30. But 4 countries are pulled out of the 2026 contest after Israel. I was told that it can enter the 2026 competition. Now, the big objections to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. Big objections to Israel being part of it next year, because not just the genocide in Gaza, but also the fact that they spent millions and millions of dollars putting out adverts all over YouTube, all over TikTok, saying that people should vote for their particular person, who came second, actually, despite all the money they spent on it, because they wanted to get the Eurovision in Israel. Now, I'm sure that Putin is using this to break Eurovision apart, in which case he's doing a very fucking good job of it. Don't forget, Putin is he's in league with Iran, and he was in league with the previous dictator of Syria. And, if you don't think he's got any influence on the Middle East, I think that's an arguable point. And, part of his plan was to break Britain off from the EU and destroy Eurovision, and he just wants to destroy European unity, and he'll take any wedge issue he can find to do that. It might be membership of the EU, it might be trans people, it might be Eurovision. He's a fucking gobshite, and I'm sure he's behind a lot of this fucking shite. Ruby Wax there. And some of the celebs are selfish in their greedy and hard. I think she may be in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I don't know. Ruby Wax used to be married to a guy called Ed Bye, who was the producer of Red Dwarf, the first few seasons. Dawn's blood on his hands. Let's talk about this. Tyrant Putin, morally responsible for death. New UK sanctions to punish Russian regime. Vladimir Putin is morally responsible for the death of a mum of 3 poisoned by Novichok. That's Dawn Sturgis, who I mentioned quite a lot on this channel because everyone else seems to have forgotten that she fucking existed. The Russian tyrant authorized his assassins to attack Sergei Skripal with a deadly nerve agent in Salisbury in 2018. Chairman Lord Hughes said, "Yeah, guys, we knew this. We knew this back in 2018." Like, we knew about this. We knew it was the Russians. They used Novichok because Putin wanted, like the Queen of Thorns. He wanted them to know it was him. He wanted all of his enemies to know it was him. And then some clown, I've forgotten his name, I think he used to be in Labour, he stood up in Parliament and he said, what we should do is give the poison to the Russians and ask them if it was them. I mean, you've got to be a dickhead. You've got to have very, very low IQ. I'm not talking about double figures here. I'm talking about single figure IQ to think that, or we should ask the Russians if they'll have a look at this and let us know if it was them. They used Novichok because that is a nerve agent that only the Russians really have. This was a warning to all of Putin's enemies. I will come for you in any country you're in and I will kill you. He wanted them to know it was him. How much did this inquiry cost? A fuckload to tell us everything that we already knew. But if they're going to put like new sanctions, how are there any sanctions left? The sanctions should be bombing the shit out of the front lines of the Russian troops in Ukraine. Just bomb the shit out of them. I don't give a fuck. Call me a hawk. Call me a nutter. Whatever. I don't care. Just one night this week. Just fucking bomb them. On Christmas Day. Bomb them on Christmas Day. What you want to do, right? Fly over, drop a football. And they'll be like, oh, wow, it's Christmas Day, let's play football. And then actually the second plane comes over and drops a load of bombs on them while they're holding the football. Fuck them. That's what I say. This war could be over in an afternoon if NATO got their ass together. Anyway, and then we've got Sarah Vine. Why, after nearly 15 years of wearing wigs, I decided to reveal my real hair by Sarah Vine. Because I don't know. She gets paid, I guess, to do news, to do a column. Farage's "It Ain't Hot Mum" attack on BBC double standards. Refuck leader turns tables on broadcaster over 1970 shows after it accuses him of schoolboy racism. The BBC didn't accuse him of schoolboy racism. The kids he went to school with accused him of. But see how this is framed in the Daily Fail? Do you see how it's framed? Do you see how it works? Do you see how they do this? And they've got a picture of a royal because they have to. She's putting things on the tree, which is nice. And then we've got the iPaper here. Ignorant to call Labour the party of welfare, claims cabinet minister. Chair of the government's child poverty task force denies budget was for Benefit Street and argues Labour is the party of work. Yeah, most of the people on benefits are working. End of. They're fucking working. And a lot of benefits go out to people who are retired. Do we call pensioners shirkers? Do we call, oh, you're so lazy. Why aren't you working? Why aren't you working? Well, because I'm too old and I'm weak. I can't lift a ream of paper anymore, And there we have, at the top of here, we've got the suspected spy, the Dorset Shepherd's Hut, and the UK military base. Sounds interesting. And Joe Root here. Joe the Goat, the greatest of all time. Finally gets his ashes ton. And then we've got Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, during the pandemic, who was fucking brilliant, and only 5 people fucking died in New Zealand as a result of the measures that they put in place, being an island. I slept in our spare room so she could run the country, says her husband. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Is that what she told you? Is that what she told you, mate? Oh. Anyway, Hayden is stumped. We won't see Ashes Flashers. Not out. Root saves fans from Oz Legends balls. There you go. Little balls joke there to do with the football. And Farage, BBC must apologise. No, fuck off. And Adrian Chalmers there, is it Chalmers? Has got cancer, which is not good. Root cements his place as England's greatest. They're still going to lose the Ashes though, so whatever. And then we've got Brothers in Arms, very clever from the Daily Telegraph, because they sell each other arms, weapons, you see. Lammy breaks ranks on Brexit. Joining customs union will boost growth, says Deputy PM after PM. Says Deputy PM days after PM rules it out. Too many PMs in that byline there. Eurovision chaos as nations pull out over Israel's entry. Migrant children can be deported. Oh, great. Farage goes to war with BBC hypocrisy. See how it's like reported in the news? Like the way I reported it was 28 people have come forward and said he was a massive fucking racist. And then these Tory newspapers are like, oh, well, you know, the BBC to pull out some rum stuff as well. Drones targeted Zelensky in Dublin. Oh my God. 4 military drones breached a no-fly zone and flew towards Volodymyr Zelensky's plane before it landed in Dublin airport on Monday. Wow. Fucking desperate Russian fucking lunatics. Activist investor makes move on Rightmove. See what they've done there. We've got the Daily Express. Prepare for World Cup dreaming all again. Oh, God, I can't be arsed. It's exhausting. Yes, I'm supporting the England team all the way to the quarterfinals. Can't wait. When we got out on penalties. Fears of worst flu wave to strike NHS this winter. And then we've got the cover of the Financial Times. Side by side, India renews ties to Russia. Really not good news there. Expat entrepreneurs record £9 million gift to reform into fundraising lead. Really fucking disgraceful that someone is allowed to give that much money. And we're talking about foreign well, he's actually British, but he lives in Thailand. But you know, foreign billionaires fucking in our messing around with our democracy. You know, bonkers ISA charges and pre-budget uncertainty leave chief of AJ Bell vexed. I'm vexed, I tell you, vexed. And yeah, the explosion in UK underground rap from the Guardian here, and Gillian Anderson in full ice mode in The Abandoned, which only get 3 stars, so not that good. Farage hits out at fresh claims of vindictive teenage racism, emerge. No Ordinary Joe Root got 100 runs. Boycott as Eurovision clears Israel to compete. And lessons not learned on Salisbury poisoning. Yes, the lesson is you don't give Vladimir Putin any quarter. He is a fucking mass murdering fucking son of a bitch. He has kidnapped European children and taken them to Russia to be abused. His troops have used rape as a weapon of war in our continent, in our home, against the good people of Ukraine. Absolute fucking scumbag. He has ordered the torture of civilians living in Ukraine who've done nothing wrong except lived in a country that wants to be a democracy. Been in a place that wanted to look west. Just like Peter the Great wanted to look west. He wanted a window on the west. Famously, he went on a 2-year tour of Europe to find out what he could. You know. Anyway, welcome to the Quake District is the cover of the Metro because there was an earthquake there yesterday. And Dr. Noel, Oasis tipped for next Bond theme. Oh, there you go. And then we've got maybe it is going to be set in the 60s and can just do another Beatles cover. And then you'll have blood on your hands if you don't tackle indefinite jail terms. Judge warns ministers. Yeah, indeed. And Farage, billionaire who donated a record £9 million, wants nothing in return except, you know, cryptocurrency deregulation, which is where he made all his money, in cryptocurrency. I'm just, yeah. Putin personally ordered Novichok attack in Salisbury. Inquiry concludes astonishingly reckless toxic nerve agent hit on spy Sergei Skripal was Sergei, I guess. Skripal was authorized at highest level to show Russian power as Yvette Cooper warns Putin's agents remained an active threat to UK. Yeah, so what you want to do, right? Get rid of Putin. Here's how you get rid of Putin tomorrow. do this by Monday, right? You can have this. Get your NATO coalition of the willing. So that's 31 members of NATO, excluding fucking America, because they can fuck off at the moment. Get all your bombers together, right? And then one day, over the weekend, at 4 o'clock in the morning, just go all the way across the Russian, the front lines and bomb the shit out their front lines. Absolutely bomb the shit out of those front lines. That's it. Hundreds of bombers, thousands of bombs. Just bomb them all. That's it. Putin will lose the war at that point, and when he loses the war, someone's going to throw that motherfucker out of a fucking window. Oh no, boo-hoo, what a shame. So he won't be able to meddle in our politics anymore. That's what you get. You won't be able to kill British citizens on British soil anymore, which he ordered. He ordered that attack, and he didn't give a fuck about how people getting caught in the crossfire. And he wanted people to know it was him, which is why they used Novichok. I don't know why they needed an inquiry into this. We knew this in 2018. I made videos about it in 2018. Didn't that one dude end up on the front line in Ukraine? There was someone from South Africa or somebody who ended up on the front line, or was recruited by people in South Africa. We now have Americans leaving for Russia due to wokeness back home, now regretting their move. Enjoy the freezing temperatures and the one potato you get a week. And what is this foreigner expecting for his 9 million? A seat on the board, a seat on the Lords, or a seat in the cabinet? He's expecting deregulation of the crypto industry. Crypto, which is notorious for drug dealers to launder their money. It's the biggest laundering scam in history. And they want to be able to do that. These people who are criminals, these drug lords, these godfathers, the mafia bosses, and tyrannical leaders of tin pot dictatorships like Putin, in charge of Russia, the same Russia that has a GDP per capita below that of like fucking Panama. Yeah, below that of, I don't know, Grenada. I mean, Russia's not doing so well at the moment. It really isn't. Let's go to GDP per capita by country. Okay. List of GDP nominal per capita. Let's have a look. And I will... Okay, let's go down. Should we go down the list together? Come on. Let's do this together. It'll be fun. Come with me for a moment. I know it's a spreadsheet, but just bear with me, right? Monaco at the top. I don't know why that's not number one. It is a country, whatever. But there you go. The table initially ranks each country by its IMF estimate and can be re-ranked on different sources. So I don't know why Monaco is not given a number, because it's a sovereign state and it has a membership of the United Nations and the same flag as Indonesia, but we'll come to that. So Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Bermuda, which is a territory of Britain, Ireland, Switzerland, Iceland, Cayman Islands, Singapore, Norway, United States, Isle of Man, Denmark, Macau, Channel Islands, Netherlands, blah, 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 Belgium, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, New Zealand, Malta, the European Union, Cyprus, Guam, Aruba, Spain, Slovenia, Brunei, South Korea, Czech Republic, New Caledonia in the Pacific, Lithuania, Portugal, Guyana, Bahrain, Slovakia, Hungary, Latvia. Do you know anyone who's been to all these places? Northern Mariana Islands, been there. Antigua and Barbuda, been there. St. Kitts and Nevis, been there. I'm not going to do this without. Panama at number 59. That's cool, isn't it? Panama, number 59. There it is. There's Panama. Okay. And then we've got Palau in the Pacific Ocean, home to Jellyfish Lake and the Rock Islands, UNESCO World Heritage Site. Oman there. And then we've got Costa Rica, Maldives. We've got Cuba, the communist place full of communists. It's doing all right, isn't it? We've got Turkey, which has a very large population, so it's still doing quite well. We've got Montserrat. Half of Montserrat got demolished by a fucking... a volcanic eruption in the 1990s. People can't live there, The tiny island, it's only got 12,000 people living there now, and per capita GDP is still higher than Trinidad and Tobago, American Samoa, and at 67, Russia at 67. I mean, cool. Let's let them in the G8. Let's let the country that is at 67th on the list of GDP per capita. I know GDP is not a great way of measuring anything, but whatever, right? 67th on the list. In fact, that's just 67 taking out all of the places that are territories and for some reason Monaco. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah. Oh my God. That is, what? What do you want? What do you want? They're a fucking weakling. They want to portray this strength that they've got. They haven't got any strength. They've just got a load of drug money, a load of fucking oil money, a load of gas money, right? And they're just destroying the planet. They are destroying the planet on purpose to fuck things up for everybody because Putin knows that's the only way he can avoid being thrown out of a window. So yeah, you want to do something about the fact that Dawn Sturgis was murdered by Russian agents at the behest of the Russian leader? You want to do something about that? You want justice? Do you want justice? Bomb the shit out the front lines. Bomb the shit out the front lines in Ukraine. They don't have air supremacy over there. It's fairly safe to do it, you know. Bomb them from a great height. That's what I say. Anyway, sorry. People in the chat could be like, Graham, what is wrong with you? UK and Ireland have a defence agreement formalised by the Memorandum of Understanding on Defence Cooperation, which was first signed in 2015 and is currently being updated in 2025 to be refreshed in 2026. And fuck up uni, 9 million is life-changing to most people, almost pocket change to billionaires who wish to deregulate their industry or sector. Yeah, £9 million. Oh my God, the things I could do with that kind of money. I mean, the things I could do with 20 grand. Like, I'll make you a film. I'm serious about that. I'll make you a fucking TV show. I'll make you an 8-part fucking documentary. Anyway, did you see Celebrity Race Across the World last night? Part of it was filmed in Panama and it looked fantastic. So I saw last week's episode where they finished in Bocas del Toro, which is where my island is. So when I was watching it and like, oh my God, I'm going to Red Frog Beach. Oh, they're getting a boat from there. Oh, and they're going to Aqua Lounge. It's like, oh my God. So like Aqua Lounge that they go to in last week's episode, I've had some fucking fantastic nights out in Aqua Lounge, right? And when my mum and dad came to visit me in Panama in 2014, my dad, it was the beginning of it was obvious that he was sort of going the way of having dementia at this point, and we knew it was probably going to be his last ever trip out. And we did a lot of things to make it as comfortable as possible for me dad. But at the same time, one night it was like my dad stayed in the hotel that they were staying in town, and me and my mum went out for drinks, and we ended up getting to the Aqua Lounge, and my mum's there. And she's like drinking all these little fucking teenage kids under the table. Brilliant, it was so cool. But yeah, Aqua Lounge, they had a section off where you could dive into the water, and they had water slides and stuff because the water's nice and warm because it's the tropics. Yeah, they also had fire people, spin the fire around. Oh, it's just a great night out at the Aqua Lounge. And I'm watching it on the BBC and I'm like, oh my God, it's my hood. It's a bit like having your local being on the BBC, and you're like, oh, didn't expect that to happen. Bocas is a really fucking small town. Only a few thousand people live there. It's very small. Everyone knows each other. Andrew Ray, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's very kind of you. A suspected spy staying in Dorset, Shepherd's Hut, has been reported to the counter-terror police. The man was seen flying a drone near Dorset military base where Ukraine's troops are trained. Russia. Yeah, probably, Andrew. Probably, mate. Okay, listen, I'm going to have to, coming soon, Celebrity Race Across Graham's Island, 1 episode special. Wouldn't last very long, mate. It's only a couple of acres. be like over in about a minute. That's the shit they ran. Local BBC News did not mention Putin once during their half-hour special on Novichok. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch Celebrity Race Across the World tonight, I think. I'll probably watch that with the girls. But on catch up, but I'll try and watch that before the show. I've got to go in a minute because I'm recording Sunday Roast with Alex and Tan, Super Tansky. So me and Tan are going to be on Sunday Roast on Sunday at 9:45. So if you watch it, that'll be us pre-recorded today. So it might not be completely up to date, and something mind-blowingly crazy might happen on Saturday, and then we might not mention it. I got some shit for like, why did you mention this thing that happened the day before? I'm like, well, it's not live. My crystal balls aren't working that well. But yeah, so I'm going to go away and do that. Also, drilling. I don't know what we're going to do about the drilling, because they're going to be recording it, and then I'm going to be like, sorry about the noise. I just let Tam do all the talking. Anyway, so that should be fun. What I'll say is, if we get one more super chat in, right, before past, one more super chat, I'll do the confetti, okay? Because it didn't work. It didn't fucking... So I'll do my confetti animation. Just one more super chat, any price, and we'll get that. We'll get that done. We now have Americans leaving for Russia due to wokeness. I've read that one. Feel better soon, Martin. Sending virtual hugs. Why isn't Sunday Roast ever live? It's because, I don't know, Alex likes putting clips in from what we're talking about. So we'll mention Farage, deflecting or whatever, and then he'll put the clip in of him deflecting. Also, maybe they can't get people to wake up at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday. I don't know. Having done a lot of live stuff myself, it is difficult to get people at the same time each week to do that kind of thing. That's why we have a bit of a sort of revolving door thing going on with the Friday night social. And Thursday nights on this channel, it might be me and Tan, it might be me and Wayne, it might be me and Mike, it might be me and Ollie. It just depends who's got the time and who's free. So I don't know. I think it can be quite difficult to do it live in certain circumstances. Each week. It's just the way Alex wants to do it. But personally, I don't like doing pre-records because you just spend half your life editing stuff. And George has dropped £2 in the super chat fund, demanding a super chat, which means you know what's coming. That wasn't me. That was a drill downstairs. You know what's coming, don't you? Confetti! Woo! Yeah, confetti. Cool. Thank you so much, George. Political X. Yeah, Alex Kerr. Takes too long to do the tatters, says Andy. Yeah, absolutely. Takes too long. And there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna piss off now. Thank you very much to George for releasing me. Please release me. Let me go. Listen, if you haven't given us a like already, give us a like. You want to get that ratio up. And also, if you're not subscribed, you're listening, you're watching, but you're not subscribed, even if you don't want to join the chat, subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. If we do any specials, which we're going to be doing a lot of specials throughout December, we're going to be doing quizzes, we're going to be doing fun stuff, and it might be a little bit ad hoc, as sometimes is on this channel, but you love the anarchic style, don't you? This is all influenced in my head by like the Young Ones and the TFI Friday and the Big Breakfast and all kind of, just let it happen. Just let it happen live, and who knows, things go crazy. I'm probably going to have a look at my stats now. I could see a big drop off when I went downstairs to talk to the guys doing the work downstairs. Anyway, right, I'm heading off now. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you at 1 o'clock for the agenda with me and Phil Morehouse. If not, tonight, 9:30, come join us for a little while for the Friday night social with me and Mike Dix and friends, and we will just be talking about the shit that's been going on this week. We'll probably talk about Eurovision, to be honest with you, and other stuff. And until then, making jokes, having a drink, having a good time, having a bit of banter, all in a loving way, of course. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.